Hey guys, Gumrax here. Yes, that is my giant bear. So today we're going to talk about chapter 939 and this epic advancement in armament hockey. It fits in perfectly with the Yonko Saga here, and we get also a little bit sprinkle of Kawamatsu's backstory here and a little bit of Komurasaki. So let's dive into it. So on the cover page of this chapter, we finally find out where Jinbei has been this whole time. You guys, he's been under the ocean and he's been getting a haircut. I'm just kidding, you guys. But yes, Jinbei is on the front of this cover page getting in a haircut, you guys. I do think that Jinbei has actually been trapped on Big Mom's ship this whole time. I believe Big Mom and crew intentionally brought Jinbei and is actually going to bait Luffy out of Wano, essentially, and bait him to come to the ship with Jinbei. And I think Jinbei is still locked up down underneath the ship here. And I think it's really suspicious that we haven't seen Big Mom's children ever since they got kicked off of the waterfall and Big Mom went missing. So I do think we're going to see a little bit more of them here, and that's when we're going to get the reveal that Jinbei has actually been with them the whole time here, and he will get out before this final epic battle we will see at the end of Wano. But then we jump into the first half of this chapter, and yes, it's all one big long interaction between Komurasaki and Zorro, and yes, Otoko's there as well. And Komurasaki basically explains a little bit of her past here, and she basically says even she's taking a gamble when she's telling Zorro, but she sees him as an outsider. She seems it's safe to take this gamble and talk to him and see if he's kind of linked to Momonosuke and if he's part of the alliance. So she even asks him, are you an ally? And yes, he says he's an ally. He says, let me process this. He reiterates the whole situation about how she was caught back in time 20 years ago, stayed there, didn't go forward in time, and her family actually wanted to progress her bloodline and make sure that their bloodline would stay alive here. So this also brings up the point, it's really interesting. Yes, I believe that Komurasaki's bloodline and Hiyori Toki actually was way back from the Void Century, and she ordered Zunisha to start walking forever ago. So yes, their bloodline can clearly talk to Zunisha and has this voice of all things association with it, but there must be something more than that if it's that important that they had Komurasaki Hiyori actually stay behind forever ago as just a little child to stay behind to make sure the bloodline could survive in a certain way here. So this is a really interesting tidbit. I'm really excited to see more what this bloodline could perhaps do and kind of see how Momonosuke is of course going to unleash this later on in the Wano arc here. But the next crucial point here is Komurasaki actually says that Otoko knows all of her secrets. So yes, she trusts all of this information to this little kid here, and it's making people think a little bit about Otoko perhaps being the suspicious character, and maybe she somehow was leaking information because she's just this little girl. How could she hold all this information? Maybe they've been able to get it out of her, and maybe that's how some of these secret traitor aspects have been going on in the Wano series here. I personally don't believe that, you guys. If you haven't seen my video about Okiku being the traitor, I'll put that up here for you guys. I definitely think that Okiku has actually been betraying everyone this whole time. She's secretly bringing everyone to the Udon prison, which is super suspicious. You're bringing Momonosuke right into danger. There's a bunch of other things, but you guys got to check that one out here. So we get a little bit more backstory on Kawamatsu the Kappa, you guys. Yes, I called this. If you haven't seen my Kawamatsu the Kappa video, I posted about a month ago. I called that he was a Kappa. He's actually got this devil fruit. He's got all these ties and associations. Oda's been doing Japanese folk tales and all kinds of mythology. There's a bunch linking to that. Yes, they love to sumo wrestle, so we get to see a little bit of that stated in this chapter by Kawamatsu himself. But we actually have this backstory and this really sad story about how she was left behind here by her family forever ago, and she was so traumatized she was actually a mute. And we found out that Kawamatsu actually raised her spirits. They snuck out. He dug a channel down into the water. They got secluded, and then over time he actually just cheered up her spirits, was really nice to her. And then when she was 13 years old, they actually got separated, and she hasn't seen Kawamatsu since, and apparently she doesn't know where he is. And it kind of seems like there's this trend where people who end up in the Udon prison are considered dead. Kind of like Impel Down. People get put in there and then all of a sudden they just disappear and they go missing here. So that's what happened to Kawamatsu. She still thinks that he's out there just preparing for this final battle as well. And when she's talking about the 9 red scabbards, it's pretty crucial. She actually brings up that Nekomamushi and Inuyasha are actually a part of the 9 red scabbards here. So yes, it was kind of assumed, but now it is confirmed as well. So it makes a little bit more sense with the whole Zou incident and them working together on Zou to protect Raizo here. We have to point out quickly that people are thinking that these interactions that we're seeing from Komurasaki or Hiyori right now are actually crazy suspicious, and people are still thinking that she might be the traitor. You guys, she is not the traitor. Yes, there was this big setup, and yes, I do think Kiroshiro is a good guy, and they had this whole plan going on here, but I do think that she is Momonosuke's sister, and yes, she is a good person. She's not trading anyone, anymore, you guys. This never happened. She was never a traitor. She was trying to protect herself in this crazy situation that she got thrown into traumatically as a little kid. We got this great backstory with Kawamatsu. We know that Zorro would be able to sense this. Yes, when he meets Okiku for the first time, Zorro immediately senses that there's something off and that she's lying. So Zorro's got these crazy instincts. He wouldn't let someone like Komurasaki be right in his presence lying to him and not notice it. Zorro's a very straightforward guy with crazy instincts. Komurasaki is a good guy, you guys. I'm positive here. So we get a couple quick panels at Resetsu, and yes, it is this prison buried within the flower capital itself, and we actually get Fukurokuju, the leader of the Oni Wabanshu in the One Piece series here, these fateful people that are serving under the Shogun himself, and they're actually guarding the prison cell, and it's this big prison cell with a ton of traitors in it. What could go wrong there? But essentially it pans to Beepo, and Beepo's all worried that La is going to be all sad and think that they possibly leaked this information. So I'm so happy that this got put out right away, you guys. People are starting to think that Beepo was the traitor. Beepo is way too cute to be the traitor. He's absolutely not this traitor in Wano. Once again, you guys, please check out this Okiku traitor in Wano video that I made, you guys. It's got a ton of merit here, so please look into that. So the next panels until the rest of the chapter, we have this advanced Haki talk in the Udon prison, you guys. So we have Luffy and Grandpa Geo, and they're fighting their next opponents here. We got some more gifters. We have Alpaca Man and Medilla Man here, and they step into the ring. They have these sea prism bullets, and they've got these guns with them, and they're looking all scary, and Luffy's just kind of laughing, of course. He's not looking at any of this as a threat, and we get to see a little bit. It's cool seeing the sea prism bullets here because we're seeing some advancements in what Wano can do. Yes, we've seen the nail, and we had Basil Hawkins that hit La with a nail, and we see how effective this is. So it's really crucial that Wano has this resource, and I definitely think it's going to come into play a little bit more. We're going to see some more of the Wano country interacting with the world government and what they can bring, what kind of interactions they've had in the past. Maybe we will get some of the world government coming because of this threat that Orochi posed to the CP0 clan here. So yes, Orochi forever ago said, you know what? We're not getting enough out of this trade. You guys need to give me Vega Punk. I do think Vega Punk will be coming to Wano, but aside from these resources, you guys, this sumo tournament's really cool because Queen is actually sitting back and he's observing Luffy, and he's saying, everyone here is underestimating Luffy. He's crazy powerful. So I think Queen is actually seeing what's going on a lot better than most people are expecting. Everyone thinks that Queen is just this fat guy on the side eating all this food, but I think he's actually going to be crazy powerful, and he actually might give Luffy a run for his money. Yes, we're seeing Luffy advance a ton during the rest of this chapter especially, and already what we've seen from him during the Wano arc here, but he got smothered by Kaido. He struggled a lot with Katakuri and Cracker, and now we have Queen, who is also on this same commander level, you guys. So Queen is not this joke. Queen is going to be a threat. I'm really interested to see here if it will be end up being Luffy fighting Queen, or perhaps we get Kawamatsu saying that he wants to sumo wrestle, so maybe Kawamatsu might get out there. And then we also have the foreshadowing that Queen is on her way to the Udon prison as well, and she wants the food that Queen is eating here. So there's that foreshadowing of that battle also, you guys. So really interested to see how this does play out. Now finally we get into the most hype aspects of this chapter, you guys. We get some Haki advancements from Luffy and some discussion about the next level of armament Haki, you guys. So yes, it's amazing. Luffy has improved way too much since the Wano Kuni arc and his time in the Wano prison, I personally think, but I love it at the same time, you guys. It is great to see how powerful Luffy is. So he actually is in the ring with Grandpa Hugh, and they're fighting Armilla Man and Alpaca Man here, and Luffy actually tells Grandpa, he says, run to the right, bend your knees, and jump up, and the Grandpa just immediately listens to him, and this combination of moves here actually has him jump up and hit the alpaca on the head, and it was crazy premonition Haki of Luffy seeing multiple moves into the future here. Yes, he's already stretched this ability out so much, and he's already able to be essentially on Katakuri's level with this ability, you guys. Luffy's premonition Haki is on point. Yes, the Yonko Saga has been playing in perfectly here, where we have Luffy growing his premonition or color of observation Haki during the Wano Kuni arc. And now we have this talk, which I'm going to get into in just a second here, about Luffy growing his armament Haki during the Wano arc here. And yes, he's now got his trainer lined up. I'll get to that in a second too. But will he also learn Conqueror's Haki during the Wano arc as well? Or is that going to be saved for Shanks during the Elbaf arc, and that is where he's going to master his Conqueror's Haki here and leaving Blackbeard for his ultimate opponent. Maybe he won't even awaken his Devil Fruit until Blackbeard. Maybe that's how Oda's playing out this sequence, you guys. I'd love to see it like that. Back to the fight scene here. We have Luffy, and he's ordering around Grandpa, and Grandpa's running around dodging attacks based off of Luffy's premonition Haki here. And then Luffy runs up to Armillo Man, and he does the stiff arm thing that we saw Rylai do way back during his fight with that elephant when he's training Luffy way back earlier in the series here during that training arc. And what's really important here is Luffy actually misses this. Yes, he's training. He tries to give him the stiff arm, shoot out this power using armament Haki here, and it doesn't work. And when Grandpa sees this, he's like, oh, what are you trying to do there? And Luffy kind of explains that it's armament Haki. And then this is crazy crucial, you guys. We have Grandpa Hugh stepping in as the next trainer. And yes, he says, oh, we actually have this thing in Wano as well. And it's where a user can take this armament Haki essentially and send it down into their blade. And he basically says the exact same thing that we saw forever ago by Koshiro, the flashback that Zorro had when he was fighting Das Bones or Mr. One way back in the Alabasta arc. We had Zorro getting this flashback, and Koshiro's actually telling him that there are people strong enough in this world to essentially cut something as hard as steel or cut nothing. And then we get this awesome scene, one of my favorite in the One Piece series, where Zorro actually takes his sword, sends it through some leaves, and it doesn't cut any of them. And then he takes his sword and he slices a rock right before he goes out and does this finishing move on Das Bones, takes this guy out who is made of steel essentially here. So we have this direct relation here, and I think it's perfect foreshadowing that, yes, Koshiro is originally from Wano, you guys. I don't think it will end up being Zorro from Wano, and I think it is Koshiro, once again, getting some more foreshadowing, being connected to Wano. I also think that Tengu has been waiting for this guy we found out on the edge of the Wano country here, and I think that Koshiro will end up coming to Wano again. Yes, Zoro's going to get to reunite with his old trainer, so I'm really excited to see that. I think that is who the Tengu is actually waiting for, you guys. But essentially here we have Grandpa going up to the alpaca, doing this stiff arm move, sending out this Haki and just blasting alpaca. So yes, he knows this move, and he said that he learned this move forever ago from a very powerful swordsman. So really excited to get that backstory, learn more about this Haki training, and then we're going to have Grandpa Hugh actually training Luffy now. We finally found out who's going to be training Luffy to get more powerful during this Wano arc here to fight Kaido. The next important thing we have here is Luffy is actually talking about how this type of Haki particularly is what he plans to use against Kaido. He says he notices some kind of weakness essentially in the scales that Kaido has, and he thinks that this type of Haki is going to be his stiff arm blast here, and he's going to be able to blast through these scales that Kaido has here. So really excited to see this training specifically. Luffy building his armament Haki, fitting perfectly into the Yonko Saga that Oda has developed here for you guys. So once again, I want to reiterate, I think that Whole Cake Island was built for Luffy building his Color of Observation Haki. Now we have Wano, and it's built perfectly for him building his armament Haki. We're next going to have Shanks linked to Elbaf. If you guys haven't seen all that foreshadowing, you got to check out my Shanks connections and foreshadowing to Elbaf. And we're going to have Luffy growing his Conqueror's Haki. Yes, Shanks is going to be able to teach him everything he knows to become this master, to essentially become the Pirate King before he goes and fights Blackbeard, who he awakens his Devil Fruit in front of. And this is how Luffy's going to grow to become the Pirate King, you guys. Please subscribe, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Smash that like button. Comment down below. What did you guys see in this chapter that I completely missed? Do you guys like my progression and how the Yonko Saga is going so far? Do you guys agree with this is a potential path for the rest of the series here? Please comment down below. Smash that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.